Hi, Carl here for ProAV TV, and here's our rundown of the 5 main reasons that our customers end up choosing the Sony FS5 Mark II. So the first thing our customers always notice about the FS5 Mark II is its form factor. It's such a small little handheld camera. It's really lovely and lightweight to use handheld like this cradled in front of you. Its actual body itself is really quite small, especially once you start taking off the top hand on the side grip and things like that, because all of these are really easy removable. So if you're going to be using it on a gimbal or something like that, it's really easy to strip it down to the bare minimum. But just handheld like this, it feels really nice and balanced in your hand. The side grip is really comfortable with a nice, easily accessible rotate button so that you can get it to exactly the position you like for the shot which you're doing. It's got a zoom control rocker for controlling clear image zoom, or a power lens like this one is here. It's got full menu control, aperture control and function buttons, everything that you need right here on your side grip, and then leaving this hand free to support the camera or to access this entire control panel here on the side, which if you're used to Sony cameras is going to be really intuitive for you. The other thing I really like is the monitor. So it's an okay monitor. It's not the greatest monitor in the world, but it's certainly usable for nearly every single situation out there. And the main thing I really like about it is that it's so easy and quick to place anywhere on the body. You can there's lots of 1/4 inch screws, and you can place it anywhere on here to really find exactly where works best for you. Or if you take off the top handle, it's really easy to mount to the body itself. And if you're on a gimbal, you can of course mount it to the top bars because it weighs practically nothing, and the cable's normally long enough for most gimbals. So that's really, really flexible. I just think overall, it's a really lovely designed handheld camera like this. So my own personal favourite feature of the FS5 Mark II is definitely variable NDs. Sony have got this on quite a few of their cameras now. It's not just limited to the FS5 Mark II, but it's such a fantastic technology, and in my opinion should definitely be on every single camera out there. It's just so useful. I've said that so many times on this channel, but I really can't say it enough. It really gives you that extreme fine control to nail exactly the right exposure that you want when you're outside in harsh sunlight and those difficult to deal with situations, because you can set your aperture to be exactly what you want it to be, you can set your shutter speed and your gain to be exactly where you want them to be, and then you can completely control your exposure just off of this variable ND. It is so accurate and so useful. It's also got a fantastic auto mode as well. So if you're in a hurry outdoors, or if you want to transition from somewhere bright to somewhere dark, because it is very smooth when it changes, you can just flick the auto switch on the ND and then let the camera control the exposure levels for you, purely only using ND. And it's nice and strong ND as well. It goes up to 1/128. So it is a fantastic feature of this camera, and I really can't shout about it enough. So perhaps surprisingly actually, the FS5 Mark II is one of the most capable cameras on the market at all when it comes to slow motion. You can do up to 960 frames a second in burst mode, or you can do up to 120 frames a second continuously. And because you've got the freedom to switch between them, it makes it one of the most flexible packages out there for slow motion, and it means that you can choose exactly the right mode for the right type of work that you're doing and the right moment, the right situation you're in. And because of the end trigger recording, it's really useful particularly when you're pairing it with that burst mode for subjects like wildlife or sports. Imagine you're waiting for a kingfisher to pick up a fish, or you're waiting for a goal to be scored. You don't want to have to be filming the entire thing, waiting for that to happen, and then in the edit choose it. If you're using cache recording or burst mode recording, however you like, whatever you like to call it, you can just be following your subject around, then with end trigger, wait for the moment to happen, and then hit record to save the last X amount of settings, depending on what your frames per second set to. But let's say 8 seconds of footage. perfectly there in slow motion, ready for your edit, ready for you to use for your highlights reel or anything like that. It's just such a fantastically flexible solution for slow motion, and that is one of the main reasons that I just see customers choosing the FS5 Mark II again and again and again when slow motion is important to them. So one thing that keeps the cost down for the overall camera package of the FS5 Mark II, and that appeals to a lot of our customers when they see it in the showroom, is the fact that it uses much more affordable SD cards as its media. It's got 2 SD card slots, and each SD card is going to set you back about a quarter of the price of a XQD card, for example, which is the type of media that the larger FS7 uses, and way less than S/S cards, which are used on some other Sony cameras. So SD is a really affordable type of media. Of course, those other ones like XQD cards have got a lot of advantages. They're much more durable, more reliable, and they've got higher, faster transfer rates. But there's a lot to be said for using affordable media like SD cards. You've got 2 slots, so you can do redundancy. And if you don't need to unlock all the benefits of this camera, like you don't want to do high frame rates, you don't want to do 4K, things like that, you can get by with even cheaper SD cards than this. And at that price, you really can start handing them off to clients with the rushes on and things like that. They become a lot more disposable. And so there's a lot of benefits of using cheaper media like SD cards, and it's something that appeals to an awful lot of our customers. So we've changed the setup here a little bit to include a monitor and recorder, because the last thing that I want to talk about is this SDI port and how Sony have enabled raw sensor data to be sent over the SDI connection to a compatible monitor recorder, like this Shogun Inferno from Atmos, or you can also use the Convergent Design Odyssey 7Q if you'd prefer. Any monitor and recorder that's capable of accepting this raw sensor data and turning it into something like Cinematic DNG or ProRes for you. What this is going to do is it's going to enable the maximum quality from the sensor inside this camera, bypassing any of the internal compression and letting the monitor and recorder handle that. And so the camera is actually capable of sending either just an ordinary 4K RAW at real time, or cache modes of 4K at 100 frames a second, or 2K at 240 frames a second. So raw data just at real time would be really impressive. The fact that it can do slow motion as well is absolutely brilliant. I'm so pleased that Sony have enabled this raw output, because it really does expand the potential of the FS5 Mark II as a camera system. So if you have this as your camera for your general workaround jobs, it's just stripped down as it is normally, that's going to be great for you. And then for those jobs which you want to up the production value on or get a bit more cinematic quality, you can get out your monitor and recorder and record to that instead with the raw output for much better results. It really just enforces how flexible and practical the Sony FS5 Mark II is. Okay, so that was our list of the main reasons that customers end up choosing the FS5 Mark II when they're here in our showroom looking at different options. But of course, there's a long feature list for the FS5 Mark II. We definitely didn't cover everything in this video, so if you think we've missed something important off of our little list, let us know in the comment section down below and let's start a conversation about it. Thanks very much for watching. If you want to buy a Sony FS5 Mark II or any other product for that matter, check out the website down in the description down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.